Hey guys, and welcome to 9.9 Comics Interview. I am Kyle, and this is Travis Gibb, the writer and creator of Broke Down and Four Dead Bodies, a new comic that's going to be coming out soon. It is on Kickstarter today, and if you actually want to give them the link.
BrokeDownComics.com. You've only got, probably by the time you see this, 5 or 4 days left, so I mean, you're going to have to jump on it quick if you want it. But
Right. And this is a really good read, guys. So if you want to get started on its early stages, be a part of the culmination of the original, the ancestors.
Right.
Yeah. So a little on this. It's kind of like it's an action comedy style comic. I'm getting a lot of Quentin Tarantino vibe out of it. Am I wrong?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino is all through that.
Yeah, I mean, just the story structure, the characters, they're all original characters, but they all have such a good feel to them. The writing's great. First question, let's start off, why comics? Why do you do comics?
Why comics? So I've done comics for a while. I've been doing this since 2005. I love comics. My budget's $40 a week with a 60% discount. So I have a huge comic collection.
Okay.
But specifically for this story, I mean, it's missing in traditional comics, right? Crime stories are reserved for special thing. We got 100 bullets, we got stray bullets, you got criminal.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Kind of the end of the list, really. I mean, there's probably about 5 or 10 more.
Right.
But really, crime and comics aren't stuff, and it used to be a cornerstone back in the day.
Crime, western.
Yeah, that was what comics were. So I kind of wanted to bring that back. And like you referred to Quentin Tarantino, when was the last time Quentin Tarantino did proper crime? He's doing samurais, westerns, and now he's doing Hollywood pieces. So someone had to do
Star Trek here soon.
Right.
Yeah. Let's actually get into the comic itself.
Okay, let's do it.
How did you get with your team for?
Okay, so they're all over the place. So it's around the globe. So we've got from Indonesia, we got Felix.
Okay.
Felix Navarra. He does all the original art. He does the art and the inks. He actually did this 10 years ago. We can get into that a little bit.
Wow.
So this has been an thing. James, I met him on the internet. I met everybody on the internet. Felix I met from Digital Webbing. Colorist, I met him through Comics Tribe. His JW Sims. He does all the colors for the internals. Then lettering, we got Jerome Gagnon. He is from Canada.
Okay.
And that dude is dope. Not only did that, he's done all the logos and all
the logo is so good. I love it's visually pleasing. And like you were saying, the lettering, I love how when there's a part in the background, there's a part where you're supposed to hear one of the main characters in the background. He's not in the main scene, and you kind of see the writing's like faded off.
Right.
Like you can hear him whispering in the back, but he's screaming. It's hilarious. You can really feel the comic when you read it. So you are published with Orange Cone Productions. How did you really get that started?
So Orange Cone Productions has been around for a while.
Okay.
They did a couple of miniseries and anthologies. So they've done a few things, stuff. I'm working with them under my stuff. So that's my label, and that's anything that I write. So for Broke Down, that'll be all in there. And then a couple of anthologies, I kind of publish it through Orange Cone. Orange Cone Productions. I did film. I came from a film background.
Okay.
But I had a kid. So I couldn't really go out and film for hours and stuff. So,
it's time
but I can write, right? I can write from home. So I kept going on that route.
And speaking of Orange Cone, do you have anything else through them, or is this from something else?
So no, this is that's from another thing. So yeah, let's talk about the comics that I have done. So this is my first work. This is Government Bodies. This is in 2002. And in the Kickstarter, you can get it. This is a 5-page backup that I did in here, which is really cool. You can have this too.
It's for me?
I'll sign it for you.
Oh, okay. Heck yeah.
But that's in the Kickstarter, so most people get that. I also, are you familiar with Negative Burns?
I'm not.
Okay, so Negative Burns is the classic. So if you're a comic fan and you're reading this, you need to get a hold of those Negative Burns. Gaiman, Alan Moore, Brian Michael Bendis, Brian Maldonado, David Mack, all of those guys got their start in Negative Burns.
Okay.
So it's an anthology story from Caliber Comics in the 90s. I happen to be in issue 21. Okay. So I'm just as good as them.
I would agree.
Right,
right. In the pudding,
right.
It's right there.
I'm in their book,
on paper.
I'm in their book, and I mean, they're really in my book, really.
Where did you get your inspiration for Broke Down and Four Dead Bodies? And when I read it, I kind of really felt Quentin Tarantino in it, not only in the story structure, but the way the characters present themselves, what's happening, the crazy stuff's always happening. It's like you think, okay, I got the storyline down, and something else happens. You're like, what?
Yeah, so it has a feel. It's a few different things. So my inspiration, growing up was I loved Robert Rodriguez films. I loved Quentin Tarantino. I loved Kevin Smith.
Oh,
so the big,
I just watched Tusk.
yeah, the big key for all of those is dialogue. So my strength is in my dialogue. It really is. It's not that the story's not great and the visuals aren't great. That's all on Felix, but the dialogue is me, and that's what I was trembling on. The story came from a comic book called Stray Bullets. Are you familiar with that?
I've heard of it. I haven't read it.
Yeah, Stray Bullets. It's an old book. I know you can get it here at 9.9 Comics. I know they have the trade over there.
Correct.
So definitely read it. The last page of that is a car broken down on the side of the road. There's a special needs kid who, throughout the issue, has murdered everyone. And they're all on the side of the road.
Hey, Matt, can you set that book aside for me?
And so when I got to it, and there was a whole bunch of dead bodies right on a dock, I was like, how do you handle that situation if, like, actual intelligent people had to deal with dead bodies broken down on the side of the road?
Right.
So that's where the story came from. You know, you always see these chases, but every time they get away, they don't break down. Or if they do break down, they just switch cars.
Right.
So that doesn't happen. They're not switching cars. They're broke down on the side of the road.
They're stuck with this, and what looks like a Mustang almost, like an old.
Yeah, it's actually a Camaro. It's
okay.
a Camaro.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a 60, 86. He's not a car.
That's why I'm in the comics. And why Colorado as a setting?
And believe it or not, it wasn't in Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah, so Felix, because he's not from America,
Okay.
I set it in New Hampshire because that's where I grew up and was raised.
Okay.
And wrote New Hampshire. There was New Hampshire lines, but then when I got it back, it had these deserts and mountains.
Yeah.
I was like, so I guess we're somewhere else now.
Yeah.
So as I was doing it, me and my wife were talking about it, and my wife, actually, our 5-year-old daughter, it's my stepdaughter, but was born in Canyon City. That's where she was born.
Yeah, and that's where
so we decided to have it in Canyon City. Actually, is the crime place for Denver. So they put all the prisons, there's like 3 or 4 prisons in Canyon City. So I was like, oh, that works perfectly with the story and everything. So now it's in Colorado. And it also gave me a lot of fun things because one of the main characters' name is Denver.
Right,
so,
Denver, Colorado.
So his parents were clearly not that original.
Yeah.
And I reference that in future issues.
Right. My thought on why you did it was because it's Colorado. It's all barren road. Most of it is barren roads up in there. You want to go anywhere. You drive anywhere. You're in a town for a very small amount of time, and there's nothing but mountains surrounding you and just long roads out to nowhere. So I wouldn't want to break down with bodies in my car in Colorado.
Yeah, it's an awesome story, and it's what's cool about this particular thing is when you buy indie comics, especially when you go on Kickstarter, which is where this is coming from, you get 16 pages, 20 pages tops if they're good. I'm giving you 30 pages of story, so this is a 30-page full-color book for the same price as everybody else out there, which is really cool. Even better than Marvel. Marvel's giving you 22. If you're lucky and you were good, you get 24.
And that's, sometimes they'll charge you a boatload for it.
Right, 30 is their double-sized giant these days, you know. Even Image, Image is clocking in about 22 pages. So I'm giving you another 8 pages of story.
Granted, Image has less ads, but...
Sure, absolutely.
But no, it's this for the material you're getting in 30 pages on a normal price, and it's such a good story, guys.
Yeah.
It pulls you in page one. The characters, they all have their own flavor, their own flair. It's just, like I said, it's a Tarantino movie. How do you go?
Yeah. Well, so I've got the Felix cover, so this is one of them, and some stuff. But we've also got Carl Malone cover. Did you see that?
I didn't know.
So Carl Malone cover. Carl, he's the guy who created Frey from Buffy. Mm-hmm. So he created the character of Frey. He did Avengers Academy. He did Superboy. He did that Loners Run that spun off of Runaways back in the day. Right. Yeah, so he did all of that stuff.
Okay.
And he's my cover artist, one of the cover artists, which is pretty cool. So I got a pro doing one of the covers, and that's one of the special covers, which is pretty cool.
But is there any other projects that you've worked on besides, of course, Government Bodies?
Yeah, so Government Bodies, Negative Burns, and then I worked on a thing called The Mirror. I've been in Space Coast Comics, for those in the Space Coast. You guys all know and love that.
Shout out Jake Estrada.
Shout out Jake. Couple things I have in the pike. I have a few things coming up.
Yes.
So I've got Why Faith, which is a faith anthology. So I have a whole bunch of things of writing perspectives, but it's not like a Christian thing. It's there's Christian, there's Hindu, there's atheist, there's agnostic.
No, I like that.
And it's all in one little comic that I put together. There is another one called KFAP, which is a wrestling anthology. This is the 3rd year of it. Okay. And some of the big independent guys are in that. I've got a book called The Advocator coming out, which has a breakdown story in it. It actually has a 4-page breakdown story, and that'll come out in like November. So that'll be a separate story from this, set in the same universe. So those are what's coming down the pipe. I've got some other stuff in the work, but those are too early.
So why don't you tell us how many issues are going to be in Broke Down?
Okay, yeah. So Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies is a 3-issue miniseries. Here's some fun stuff. It's a little spoilery, so if you don't like it, be quiet for about a minute.
Spoiler.
So this is the first issue, which is Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies. Issue 2 is Broke Down in 5 Dead Bodies. Issue 3 is Broke Down in lots of dead bodies.
I feel like it's going to be Miguel.
So it's escalating quickly, and we are already. I just got pages 17 and 18 today. So, I mean, it's a 30-page, so, like, done. Inked, colored. They're not lettered, but inked and colored.
Right.
So, we're already, this book will come out really, really fast after number 1. We may push off to the beginning of the year, but that's only to give time for indie books. You just need time. You spend a little bit more on indie books that are Kickstarter just because you don't have the same shipping capabilities, right? We're not Marvel, not Image, we're not DC. We don't print runs of 10,000, we print runs of thousands.
Right.
So you kind of wait for people's pockets out of respect to everyone. But yeah, so that's that. And then it's kind of ongoing because after that we're doing a wrestling one called Broke Down and Tapped Out. So Broke Down is the main title, and then we have subtitles.
No, I like it. It's kind of its own self-contained world with its own little stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why you can. It works is you can go away from it for a while and come back, but it's something fresh.
Correct. Yeah.
And I do agree with having to space it out with smaller issues. That has been successful on a lot of different comics. So.
Yeah, you want it. I mean, you want it to get a new book out every 3 or 4 months or 5 months, but you get a little bit of a pass when you talk about independent books. You get a small little pass because they know that it takes a little bit amount of time. You know, most of us have day jobs. We have other careers.
Yeah, exactly. Can I ask this question?
Whatever you want.
Was Mr. Washington's phone number you see on Denver's phone a real phone number? And what about Miguel's number on Randy's phone?
Those are really interesting questions. They are, so how to answer that question without spoiling, that's the key thing. They are the real numbers, but I will tell you, you will want to go back when you get to issue 3 and look at number 1 from a different light. So some of the things you're seeing are not what you see. So it's not as direct, and as you say, one of the greatest things about writing comics, going back to that question, and I probably should have answered it better earlier. And I learned this from Kevin Smith, believe it or not, even though I don't even think he did a great job. But when he did that Batman, Catastrophes, what is it called? The one with the guy who couldn't speak and he just spoke in like action words. You know what I'm talking about? He did a Batman story with a character. It was a miniseries. Anyways.
Was it the one where he made Batman pee himself?
I think so, yeah. It's not Wide and Grin, that was his first one, and then the other one, this is the second one.
Okay.
So basically, in comics, what's the greatest thing about comics is you get to dictate how someone says something. And people are reading it, and they're reading it in their voice. So that means articulation, I get to dictate that on my end. So sometimes all the good writers that you've noticed, people who are really good at it. Grant Morrison's really good at it. Who else? Who's writing? He just started writing JLA. I can't think of his name right now. Why am I struggling? Wrote Batman for years. Started...
King?
No, King's writing Batman now. The one before King. Stephen... I can't even think of his name right now.
We're dying.
He's great. He's
awesome.
He's so good. I read all of his books. That guy. He's really good. But no.
We got 2 GLA fans here.
Right. Justice League is fantastic. Everyone should read it. The guy created Court of Owls.
Oh, yes. I love Court of Owls.
I can't even think of his name. I don't know why.
Oh, Scott Snyder?
Scott Snyder. There you go. He's really good at when you reread.
We need to leave. We're done.
Right. Sorry, Scott.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I can no longer work for DC because I failed 2 DC tests.
And I'm done. I can no longer read comics anymore. I need to go burn all my Batmans.
But sometimes you'll read when you read his whole runs completely, once you figure out what it was about.
Right.
You'll go back, so that conversation really had nothing to do with what I thought about it at the time. There's a lot of that in issue 1. That when you go back, so that kind of ties into your phone question. Those things that you think are happening, the way you read it, you're supposed to read it that way, and then when you read it later, you may not feel the same way.
I was like, the artist spent a lot of time making sure you could read those numbers. There's got to be something about that, and like what you said about articulation, the way that Mr. Washington speaks, my boy, like you get different accents for everyone else in your head.
Yeah, it's really it's a lot of fun. You know, in the next issue, because one of the Kickstarter awards was name gangs, so we have 2 gangs that are named. So the gang in the back of the 4 dead bodies, they have a name that was named by a fan, which was cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we have another gang, which is a motorcycle gang, and those guys are called. I can't even remember that now. What is going on? I'm gonna look that one up though, because I can look that up while we're talking. So that well, you don't need to make noises. I think we can just,
But yeah, so you get an award for having gangs in your book, having gang names.
Yeah. One of the things is one of the awards. It was a $250 reward. So 2 people gave me $250.
Okay.
Just to name the game.
That's a lot of paper.
The gang is called Psycho 78. For those who are Misfits fans.
Yeah,
that'll mean something to you.
You are actually going to be in store soon doing a signing at 9.9 Comics.
Yeah. So the minute they're released, so what I'll do is when I get them in hand, so I have to ship them off to get a cheaper rate for everybody. I have to ship them overseas. They come back here. It takes about a month. So we're looking at late October, early November.
Okay.
But I'll come out. Within 2, we'll have a couple of weeks to promote it. I'll make sure I have them. And yeah, we'll be here. We'll be signing things. I'll have all 3 covers here for people to sign. If you guys bid on the Kickstarter, you guys can pick up your rewards here. We'll have some special gifts and promo items for you guys. We'll do something cool for 9.9. So these guys have been super cool the whole time. And it's a great comic store to go if you're a collector, right? And when you're doing Kickstarter books, it is a collector's item.
Right.
Because you're investing in me before I may get an image deal.
Correct.
Or one of these things. So you're going to have the first written work of me, and that's going to help you, and that's going to help you as a collector be able to get these things. So 9.9 is a place to do that.
Right. Kickstarter is actually right now it's a large viable place for independent writers to get their content out there, and if you are a collector, it's easier to get on the early floor of a comic, where back in the day you'd have to listen to your friend, you overheard your friend, dude, you need to buy this comic because it's going to be good. No, you go on Kickstarter and you can find a bunch of good content to support.
Yeah, we have 119 backers, so it's not like a couple of people who are backing me with large sums. I know we talked about this 250, but 150 people have already invested in this comic, and you guys could be part of that and be part of this. Get your name out there, know about what we're doing and the books that are coming out, because these are the creators that are coming up. They're looking at Kickstarter because that's where they're at. So take a look at it. Get your store, go into your store, buy these independent books, and find out where they came from.
Right, exactly. You'd be surprised by some of the big people you read now, where they came from, their memes. In fact, Donny Cates right now, who's really, really big, Venom, he got started back with, what was it? It was a Tomahawk in a metal magazine.
Correct.
Which it's a really good read, by the way, guys. You get the collected issues. It's all tattoo art. It's some good stuff. But with that, I think we're timed.
Yeah.
Good interview. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
Remember to like and subscribe. Remember to go and donate to his Kickstarter to help the book get out.
Even $1, you can get the digital copy.
Right, just $1, guys, and that's less than what a comic costs. That's 1990s prices.
Yeah, spend $1. Come and buy the physical copy when we do the signing here, because I know there's going to be some. I'm okay with that. Really, I want you to read it far more than I want your money. I know that sounds weird. We're funded. This book is already happening. But I just want more people to read it. So as many people want to read it, please, I don't care. Come down, learn, meet me, and let's do it.
Right. I've already read it twice myself, and it's the top one of my favorite reads right now.
Woo! That's awesome.
So, thanks guys for watching, and remember to like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz, and have a good one.
All right, thanks.
All right, before we go, guys, remember to watch 9.9 Comics with Chris and Kyle every week. It's a show for collectors. We give a list, a small list, it's usually between 8 and 20 comics on the hundreds and hundreds of comics that come out every week, independent and big too. We don't put prejudice towards publishers. And which comics should you pick up out of the big list? Which should you focus your money on to maximize your collection? and we have the 9.9 no-brainer that even if you're going to buy any of them, you want the 9.9 no-brainer. So it's at the end of the show. But thanks, Travis, for sticking around for the interview.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I watch it most of the time. I watch it. Sorry, you're gonna have to cut this.
No, you're all right.
I watch it a lot, and definitely if you're looking for what indies to buy, if you have 5 or 6 choices, it's definitely a good program to watch because they read it, they review it, and they give you their honest opinions, which is a great thing to do.
Yeah, we try to, like, I mean, it is a show where we're trying to tell you these comics are worth buying, but we do, like, tell you, like, hey, this is kind of weird about it, but it's still good. We warts and all on this show. Warts and all.